And every time I went home on leave, I would notice that he was having some health issues, joint pains, things like that, moving slower than he used to.
You don't have to tell us your numbers, but if somebody were to wonder, like, how much should I expect to have initial in capital or funds, what would be a good guess, or based on your experience? All right, welcome back on another episode of Beyond the Uniforms. Today we have Rico, who's in the United States Marine Corps, and actually you are almost done. You see the light at the end of the tunnel, man.
I
It's
do.
there. Thanks for so much for joining us on the show, man. Great to have you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mike. I appreciate you having me on and having the opportunity to talk to you and your audience. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, man. And we'd love to learn a little bit more about what you're doing and the product that you're pushing out. Or well, I think you've already got it in the. Is it on markets yet? Well, we can get into that in a little bit. I guess we'll talk about that. But
Okay.
yeah, just get a little bit about your background, your service in the Corps, and how much time you got until you finally pull the plug, man. You get to pop smoke.
Yeah. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for a new chapter. So I've been in the Marine Corps 19 years. I'm currently a master sergeant, and my MOS or military occupational specialty is career recruiter. So I started in the Marine Corps as an aviation data analyst for any Marine Corps guys out there, or even Navy aviation guys. That's pretty much we call it. So dealing with logbooks, logs and records, and things like that. And then I transitioned to being an aviation data analyst, just dealing with the programs, with the flights and things like that, tracking the hours, the components that are removed and installed on them. And then from I would say I did that for about 12 years, and then from there I became a recruiter in Arlington, Texas. I did that for about a year and a half before I took over my own station. And that was actually 2 hours north from Arlington. It was in a little city called Wichita Falls, Texas. Ran that station for a while, and then I became a career recruiter. So now I do that full time. Currently, my billet is district training team member. So what I do is I go across the western part of the nation to all the recruiting substations and RSs, recruiting stations that are on the Western recruiting region. I do systematic recruiting inspections to make sure that they're basically meeting the tenets of systematic recruiting and doing what they need to as station commanders and running the RSS successfully in order to attain the mission they need.
Nice, man. That's a pretty interesting career that you actually got to travel around. And I say that because I'm actually right here in Denton. So,
Oh,
um, like, obviously you probably know where that's at. You've been in Arlington and Wichita Falls, where my wife went to college, right there at Midwestern. So
oh,
small area, man. It's pretty
yeah.
small world. And so you've got 2 years or just around 2 years left before you actually get to transition out into the civilian world and make those next steps. So, but you've got something else going on right now. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, like you said, I retire in about 10 months. So, June 30th, 2025, I will be
I'm sorry,
hanging up
when
the
you?
and calling it a pretty much a quits. But like they
Yeah,
say, always a Marine, so I'll definitely always carry that title. But I know that there's life after the Marine Corps, and I wanted to start doing something that would benefit myself and my family and others as well. Because I used to have a dog growing up. I would say about 3 years before I joined the Marine Corps, I had a boxer. This dog near and dear to my heart. And I joined the Marine Corps, and of course, I couldn't take the dog with me because I was in the barracks and traveling and things like that. And every time I went home on leave, I would notice that he was having some health issues, joint pains, things like that, moving slower than he used to, and then away due to his age. And ever since then, I've been wanting to start a vitamin slash supplement company for dogs to help with health and vitality and ensure their well-being. And that's pretty much what I did is I started a company 3 months ago called Beast Arsenal. And it's rooted in a family ran operation, veteran owned, of course. And what I want to do is just help pets around the nation, around the world, just with their health and vitality to ensure that they have longevity.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Well, congrats on the product launch. Is it officially out, or is it still like in the process?
It's officially out. We have three supplements that we're currently selling. We have probiotics, which will help with digestive issues and the immune system. I have natural calming chews, which will help with anxious dogs, maybe during fireworks or thunderstorms and things like that. We have muscle gain chews, which will help with performance, recovery, strength, stamina, things like that. And it has whey protein in it. So three products that we're starting out with. We officially 3 months ago, and I have it currently on the website, and I have it on eBay, and just trying to grow organically through Instagram and Facebook. And then eventually the goal is to get on Amazon.
Nice, man. Well, that's awesome, dude. Congrats on that. I've talked to, quite a few military members and obviously just regular people as well that always want to start a product line. They just, it's a difficult process. And obviously in most cases, you got to have some capital or funds invested into it. Your products, are they, so they're for basically any dogs? Do you have them separated for like large breeds, small breeds, specific breeds?
Yes, so that's a great question. It's for all breeds, and the serving size is basically between how much they weigh. So however much they weigh, is how many chews they're going to get. But it is for all breeds, and like you said, yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of capital to start out with, for sure. And since this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, I definitely have been saving for it. So,
Nice. So for anybody listening, like obviously people are going to be like, dude, how did you do this? Like, because I just talked to a lady the other day who was trying to start a clothing brand line, and she unfortunately couldn't do it because of the same reason, like capital, no money, and all that stuff. You've obviously been saving for a while, so that is obviously
mhm.
probably the number one thing to do, right? Is saving the cash, saving the funds. Did you seek any outside investors, or did you get any loans or anything like that?
No, not at all. And like you said, I've been saving for a while because this is something I really wanted to do. Saving and doing a lot of research. And what I mean by research is getting the LLC, opening the company, looking at marketing, thinking about how I'm going to do this and having an actual game plan when I wanted to start this and how I was going to implement it. But I think doing the research beforehand was huge. Even looking at other competitors, because there's some huge competitors that I want to be able to eventually scale up to and be one of their competitors, because right now they're blowing me out of the water, of course, because I just started. Eventually, that's the goal.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the biggest thing I think. Some people don't put much effort into is the research. Like they have, I've done it too, of course, and I'm throwing myself in there as well. I've started, my whole background is, marketing, building websites, and sales funnels and all that stuff. And now I'm kind of into AI and automation. So this podcast and this newsletter it's kind of something I'm doing on the side, but I want to get it to I want it to be my main thing because I have so much fun in doing it. But one of the things that I did when I first started learning about like AI, and even when I was doing this newsletter, is like there's so many out there already. How can you be different? Because you don't want to be like just another Me Too supplement company, or I don't want to be just another Me Too like newsletter. Um, so as far as research, that goes into what you did you look at the top? Obviously, you looked at the top competitors. Was there any other things that kind of gave you an advantage or like leverage over some of your competitors as far as
I
like
would,
your products?
yeah, that's a great question. I think being in the world of recruiting, we have to talk to people daily, and we have to be uncomfortable with or be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and a lot of times that's what we do every single day as a recruiter. So just being able to talk to anyone and everybody, I think, helped me have that leverage. And it's funny that you asked that, because I was actually in a coffee shop this morning here in Fort Worth called Boulevard Brew, and I was just talking to the guy and having a conversation. And long story short, we started talking about the supplements, and he asked me if he could buy some wholesale and put them in his coffee shop, because there's a lot of pet owners that go to that coffee shop. And I was like, absolutely. So just being able to have conversations and talk to anybody and everybody you can is what I live by, and I think that helps you gain the most exposure that you will need for any company.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes, I have a mentor, and one of his biggest things was he always told us like, go be a customer of your competitors because that's how
Hmm.
you're going to get the most valuable information. Like buy their products, go through their sales funnels, and do all those things that you need to do. Just find out how they're marketing, and I think that's one of the biggest keys on how to actually market your product is look at what the other competitors are doing and figuring out like what is their strategy, and then ultimately how can you beat them, right? Now, I think the next obstacle, okay, so we did the market research. So the next obstacle, I guess, if you want to call it that, would be like, how do you find the manufacturers to make these products? Because when I looked at doing a product a lot too long ago as well, that was my biggest deal, was like, how do I find the manufacturers? Because obviously you have to buy in bulk, you have to go through a testing process and a tweaking process. How did you find the manufacturers for this?
So yeah, it was that's a great question. With the research that I was doing, I was on Google and searching for USA manufacturers, and there's quite a bit that come up. And just making phone calls with them and doing these conference calls with them, understanding their product, what they put in it, and how much they charge is pretty much what I did. And I had to find, of course, the most cost-effective solution or that would help me out as far as putting that product out there as fast as possible. But yes, finding USA manufacturers was just a Google search, looking at the company, looking at the website, looking at their mission, their values, and things like that. And that's what I looked for in the company.
Gotcha. And so you eventually landed on one. Does it take them a while to manufacture this stuff?
Yes, it takes about 8 to 10 weeks
Wow.
for them to actually get the product.
Okay.
Thousands and thousands.
And then obviously you have to have your own shop and distribution center, or how does that?
Correct. Yes. So I had to get a warehouse. I had to get
Oh
that.
man,
Oh, that's all part of the saving the money. Everything is and looked at research. Yeah, so everything as far as research as for me has gone is that's pretty much what I've done.
gotcha. Okay. Um, so we've got the research done. We've got the product launch. The next step is obviously the marketing side, which obviously is another huge expense. So obviously, you know that launching a product is not cheap at all. It takes quite a bit of investment. Um, when you go to market the product, you said you're doing a lot of this organically.
Yes, I'm doing it on Instagram and Facebook currently, and I would say in about the next 2 weeks, I plan on running ads through Meta and Instagram, and then of course Google. So that's the plan right now currently.
Gotcha. And then any distributions in some stores besides the coffee shop?
No, not yet. That was my actual first place to just in conversation, being able to get that product in there. My next goal is to start talking to local stores, pet shops, and getting the product in there as well.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because obviously companies like PetSmart and Petco and all them, they're pretty massive. Like even if you could
Hmm.
get it in Walmart, I think would be a pretty awesome goal to have,
Yeah.
to huge distribution channels right there.
Hmm.
Now, as far as the products themselves, can you talk a little bit about the products there? Like I'm assuming like high quality and I don't know if it's organic or not, but what's some of the stuff that goes into the products?
Yeah. So high quality, organic,
Oh,
natural. So in the calming chews, you're gonna have things like theanine, which helps with relaxation. That's an amino acid. The muscle gain chews have whey protein. So it has 250 milligrams of whey protein, which testing and looking at other dogs and testing it with dogs, it seemed ideal. And then with the probiotics, things like pumpkin are in there to help with that, fiber to help with the immune system and digestive issues.
gotcha. Now you brought up a good point, that I was going to touch on the testing, I guess, so to speak. Did you have How did you get the product like actually tested with other, and did you just have friends do it, give them to their dogs, and then also the other part of that, which I know there's a lot of gray area, but are there any regulations? FDA, are they involved?
Yeah, so it came from a GMP certified factory, and FDA is involved. Those are things that I wanted to require from the company, and that's what I expected from them. So I made sure that they had certifications first. And
Gotcha.
there was another question that you asked, and I lost my train of thought.
Like the testing, how did you get this product tested?
So the testing, there was a lot of samples. I gave a lot of free samples out to friends and family, even looking on Instagram, looking at people that had dogs that had a huge influence in the organic growth. I would say people that had 50,000 followers, 20,000 followers, things like that, just asking if they would be able to sample the product. Hiring UGC creators, asking
Mm,
people pretty much market the product by sending me pictures if I gave them a free sample. So these are all things that I did. Testing the flavor with different dogs. I mean, we tried bacon and chicken and beef, and we've noticed that dogs like chicken the most, from what I can see.
Oh wow, interesting. I'd be a baking person. I'd
Yeah,
be a bacon dog myself.
yeah. I think I would too.
Right. Uh, well, that's a good point that you hit on. I think a lot of people overlook, like even when if they're just even if it's just a service or versus a physical product. You said handing a lot of samples out. Obviously, again, it comes back to investing a lot of money into this
Hmm.
product in order just to even try to get it into the hands of people. Because obviously, if you're going to reach out to content creators, you're going to reach out to influencers. You don't want to hand them like your first or second, maybe even your second level iteration of the product, because it's going to be all over social media and you're going to want that stuff to come back in a positive way and not a negative way.
Yeah.
But social media, right, is a big thing right now, especially with influencers, content creators, UGCs. What? So did you just directly reach out to them? Like, how did that process go?
Yeah, so just reaching out to them directly, and then you have things like Fiverr and Upwork. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of those platforms. There's those are where you can get freelancers and things like that. So looking at those platforms and seeing who's actually doing that work, and then sometimes there's money involved where you have to pay them. They won't just take a sample; they want money as well. So that comes back to all the saving that I did and knowing that these are expenses that were going to have to happen.
Gotcha. So projected timeline, you think before we, well, hopefully, if things go the right way, do you think that it would take to get into some, I don't want to say major retail outlets, but obviously that's the goal. Like, how long does it typically take, based on your research? Would it go from where you're currently at to maybe getting into like a retailer? Is there
I
any
would
information on that?
So looking at past or other competitors and seeing what they've done, they're looking at usually 3 to 5 years is what I've been seeing. And some of the big companies that I've seen started 10 years ago. So it takes about 10 years to get out and doing my research. Some of the big companies, because I can look at their website views and things like that, they're getting about 180,000 to 200,000 views a month just at the website. That's only at the website. So you have Amazon, you have eBay, you have all these other platforms that they're selling on. But just looking at their website and seeing that growth after 10 years is just amazing to me. And that's
Wow, that's crazy,
mhm.
man. Okay, well, I did not even think it was going to be that long. Wow. So yeah, so when people are, if they're listening to this and they're going to go through and they're going to say, I want to launch a product, and this isn't about a normal average case, right? That it takes a few years for this thing to go through tests and iterations to finally get into maybe even a store. So definitely start your product line years, or have this thing going way before you intend to transition out, which I think, you said you started this a while ago. And so you got
Mhm.
10 months, I think you said you have left.
Yep.
And obviously you'll be retiring, so you'll have that opportunity right there. Um, if you wanted to go out and check out your products, do you have a site we can direct them to, or social media that we can send them to?
Yeah, if you just look at Beast Arsenal on Instagram, all lowercase, or go to beastarsenal.com. That's BeastArsenal.com. You'll see the supplements there. I'm actually revamping the website as we speak. Currently, it should be done in the next 2 weeks, and I'm hoping to start pushing that new website with the ads in 2 weeks.
Nice. Um, One last question is, well, before we sign off, if anybody's curious about, and obviously this is probably not as expensive as some other products that some people might be thinking about to launch. You don't have to tell us your numbers, but if somebody were to wonder, like, how much should I expect to have initial in capital or funds? What would be a good guess, or based on your experience?
Looking at the product that you want to buy, marketing, website design, research, I would say at least bare minimum 20,000 at least.
Okay,
I would say
that's
20,000.
okay. That's not entirely bad. I was thinking like 100,000, but that's actually pretty good. 20,000. That's actually a really good figure.
That's for
And now considering, of course, that's what.
that's just for the bare minimum. Yeah. I would
Yeah,
say
yeah,
20.
bare minimum, right? And obviously, the more that you invest, the more that you can get this going faster. The more advertising you can do, the more contacts that you can reach out to, and these products into the hands of some people, and ultimately, like these big retailers, hopefully, that'll be the best way to go. Maybe open up your own shop. I mean, you could even just eventually maybe open up your own storefront and franchise it out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That could be another option too. Awesome, man. Well, this was pretty short, but it was very straight, direct to the point. I think we pretty much hit on all the main topics or the main concerns that I think people might have, especially in the food or supplement industry. You got anything, 1 or 2 tips or 1 or 2 pointers that you can offer to anybody who's looking to start something like this or something similar?
I would say consistency is definitely key. And, sometimes there's going to be days where you don't think it's going to work out. I think having those self affirmations, telling yourself that you're going to be able to make this work, you just have to believe in it. And if you believe in it and you work towards your goal, it's definitely going to happen. And yeah, it might start out slow, and there's going to be some obstacles that you have to overcome, but being able to overcome that adversity is what makes people stronger. And I think if people can do that and just have a goal in sight and know that they can achieve it, it's going to be done.
Nice. Sorry, I was thinking of something as you were talking. Just one more. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you said this thing launched just about 3 months ago, right? How much? So when did you actually like start diving into this? Like, was it a year or two ago, something like that?
So when you say diving into it, like actually start researching, is that what you mean?
Yeah, like when you started to get the ball moving and started doing this, because we're trying to give people like a time frame of like, okay, this is kind of from going from ideation to actually like you launching this thing 3 months ago.
Yeah. So after my dog passed away in 2015, I would say about 3 years later is when I really started doing the research. And then a year and a half ago is when I really sat down, buckled down, and started looking at competitors, looking at manufacturers, and really thinking about how I was going to attack this with the money that I had.
Gotcha. So we're looking at about a year and a half to 2 years,
Mhm.
kind of around the time frame. Man, that's quite a bit. Obviously, you had your Marine Corps duties and everything like that, so obviously you couldn't dedicate 100% of your time to it. But
Right.
family and everything else. So,
Mhm.
wow. Okay, that's a good time frame. For anybody listening, just keep that in mind. It does take some time. This isn't something that you're just going to go out there, pop out, and launch and blow it right out of the water. Take your time, due diligence, and your research and stuff like that, and hopefully we'll get an awesome product launch. So,
Yeah,
Rico, man, thank you so much for hopping on today, taking a little bit of time off just to speak with us and discuss your product launch. If anybody's got some animals that have medical health issues, and even these supplements can be used to kind of act as a preventative, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, head on over there. We'll put the link in the show notes description, or we'll put it at the bottom of the screen somewhere so that people can go and check it out. Go follow them on Instagram at Beast Arsenal, and then we'll like I said, we'll put the website on there so people can check it out. So awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much
Appreciate
for taking the time out today. I think I said that already, but again, thank you so much for that and your service to the country. We greatly appreciate it. And congrats on your retirement here, man. I bet that clock can't come fast enough.
it. I can't wait. I appreciate you having me on.